What if I told you that when the world goes sideways, 90% of what people stockpile is actually worthless? When disaster strikes, most folks panic by everything in sight, stuffing their carts with items that will either spoil, become redundant, or just take up precious space. But survivalists who actually know what they're doing, they focus on just 5 strategic foods that cover every nutritional base your body needs to not just survive but actually thrive. Before we dive into what these 5 miracle foods are, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because this information could literally save your life when you need it most. Let's get one thing straight right now. Survival isn't about having a basement full of random cans and boxes. It's about strategic efficiency. Your body doesn't care if you have 40 types of food. It cares about getting the macronutrients, micronutrients, calories, and sustenance it needs to keep your heart beating, your brain functioning, and your muscles moving. The 5 foods we're covering today do exactly that. They form a complete nutritional profile that can sustain human life indefinitely. We're talking about foods that store for years, require minimal preparation, pack serious caloric density, and together create a synergy that keeps malnutrition and deficiency diseases at bay. So what's the first food on this ultimate survival list? Rice, white rice specifically. Now I know what you're thinking. You've heard brown rice is healthier and you'd be right under normal circumstances. But we're not talking about normal circumstances. We're talking about survival. White rice has had the bran and germ removed, which sounds bad nutritionally, but here's the kicker. That process makes it last virtually forever. Properly stored white rice can remain edible for 30 years or more. Brown rice, it goes rancid in 6 months because of the oils in that bran layer. White rice gives you pure, reliable carbohydrates. We're talking about energy, the fuel your body burns to do literally everything. A single cup of cooked white rice delivers over 200 calories and 45 grams of carbohydrates. It's bland, yes, but that's actually an advantage because it combines with everything else on this list. Rice is the foundation, the base layer of your survival food pyramid. Cultures around the world have relied on rice as their primary staple for thousands of years for good reason. It works. Second on the list is beans. Dried beans. Kidney beans, black beans, pinto beans, navy beans, it doesn't matter which variety you choose, they all bring something critically important to the table. Protein and fiber. While rice gives you energy, beans give you the building blocks your body uses to repair tissue, create enzymes, and maintain muscle mass. A cup of cooked beans delivers about 15 grams of protein and 15 grams of fiber. That fiber is crucial because it keeps your digestive system functioning properly, which is something people don't think about until it becomes a problem. Dried beans stored in airtight containers away from moisture can last indefinitely. We're talking decades of shelf life. The combination of rice and beans is legendary in survival circles because together they form a complete protein. Rice is low in lysine but high in methionine. Beans are high in lysine but low in methionine. Eat them together and you get all 9 essential amino acids your body can't produce on its own. This is the same combination that sustained entire civilizations. It's not fancy, but it's brilliantly effective. The third essential food is something that surprises a lot of people. Honey, raw honey specifically. This golden liquid is the only food that literally never spoils. Archaeologists have found pots of honey in ancient Egyptian tombs that are over 3,000 years old and still perfectly edible. Honey is pure energy in its most natural form, loaded with simple sugars that your body can convert to fuel almost instantly. A single tablespoon gives you 64 calories. But honey isn't just about calories. It has antibacterial properties that make it useful for treating wounds and fighting infections. It soothes sore throats and coughs. It can be used as a natural preservative for other foods. In a survival scenario where medical supplies are limited, honey becomes a multi-purpose tool. The key is getting raw, unprocessed honey and storing it in sealed containers. Heat and moisture are its only enemies. Keep it cool and dry, and you've got an unlimited shelf-life food source that also serves as medicine. Now we're getting to number 4, and this one is controversial in some circles, but hear me out. Powdered milk, specifically non-fat dry milk powder. When you're living off rice and beans, you're missing something critical: calcium, vitamin D, vitamin A, and additional complete protein. Dairy fills that gap. Fresh milk spoils in days, even with refrigeration. But powdered milk, when stored properly in airtight containers with oxygen absorbers, lasts 20 years or more. 1 cup of reconstituted non-fat dry milk gives you 8 grams of protein and 30% of your daily calcium needs. That calcium isn't just for strong bones. It's essential for nerve transmission, muscle function, and blood clotting. The vitamin D helps your body actually absorb that calcium. Vitamin A supports your immune system and vision. People who have survived long-term on limited diets without dairy often develop serious deficiencies that lead to bone problems, weakened immunity, and other health issues. Powdered milk prevents that. Yes, the taste isn't quite the same as fresh milk, but we're optimizing for survival, not gourmet dining. Mix it into your rice, use it to make simple bread if you have the means, or just drink it straight. Your body will thank you. The fifth and final food is going to make perfect sense once you think about it. Salt, iodized salt. You might be thinking salt isn't really a food, and technically you'd be right. But it's so critical to survival that leaving it off this list would be irresponsible. Your body absolutely requires sodium to survive. It regulates fluid balance, enables nerve impulses, and allows your muscles, including your heart, to contract. Without enough salt, you die. It's that simple. But here's the thing most people miss. When you're eating a simple diet of rice, beans, honey, and powdered milk, you're not getting much sodium. These foods are naturally low in salt, you have to add it. Iodized salt also prevents iodine deficiency, which causes thyroid problems and historically conditions like goiter. Salt never goes bad, it's a mineral. Store it in a dry place and it lasts forever. Beyond keeping you alive, salt is crucial for food preservation. You can use it to cure meats, preserve vegetables, and prevent bacterial growth. In a long-term survival situation, salt becomes currency. It's been used as money throughout history because it's that valuable. So there you have it: rice for energy and calories, beans for protein and fiber, honey for quick fuel and medicinal properties, powdered milk for calcium, vitamins, and additional protein, salt for electrolytes, iodine, and preservation. These 5 foods create a complete nutritional system. But here's what makes this strategy truly brilliant: it's not just about nutrition, it's about practicality. All 5 of these items store for decades when handled properly. None of them require refrigeration. They're relatively inexpensive compared to specialized survival foods. They don't require advanced cooking skills or equipment. You can prepare them with just water and heat. And together, they take up a fraction of the space that a random assortment of canned goods and packaged foods would occupy. Let's talk about what you're avoiding by focusing on these 5 essentials. Canned goods seem like an obvious choice for stockpiling, and sure, they have their place. But most canned foods only last 2 to 5 years. The cans themselves can corrode, bulge, or develop leaks. They're heavy, which matters if you ever need to move your supplies. And once you open a can, you need to consume it relatively quickly or it spoils. Compare that to rice and beans that last 30 years and can be portioned out exactly as needed. Freeze-dried camping meals are popular, but they're expensive, often costing $10 to $15 per serving. For the price of a week's worth of freeze-dried food, you could buy months' worth of rice, beans, and powdered milk. Processed snack foods, crackers, chips, and cookies might seem comforting, but they provide empty calories with minimal nutrition and go stale quickly. In a real survival scenario, you can't afford to waste storage space and money on foods that don't pull their weight nutritionally. Some people argue for stockpiling wheat berries instead of rice. Wheat is nutritious and stores well, but here's the problem. You need a grain mill to turn wheat berries into usable flour. That's an extra piece of equipment that can break. Whole wheat flour itself goes rancid within a few months because of the oils in the grain. White flour lasts longer but lacks the nutrition of the whole grain. Rice sidesteps all these issues. It's ready to cook as is. Others suggest oats, and while oats are great, they have a shorter shelf life than rice, typically around 2 years in normal storage conditions. Quinoa is nutritionally superior to rice in many ways, but it's significantly more expensive and doesn't store quite as long. The 5 foods on our list represent the sweet spot of nutrition, longevity, cost, and ease of use. Now let's address preparation and variety, because eating the same thing every day sounds miserable and morale matters in survival situations. The beauty of this system is that these 5 simple ingredients can be combined in dozens of ways. Cook rice and beans together with salt for a classic complete meal. Make rice pudding using powdered milk and honey for something sweet. Form bean patties and pan fry them if you have oil available. Use honey as a glaze or sweetener. The preparations might be simple, but simple doesn't mean bad. It means reliable and repeatable. Throughout history, people have lived on far less variety than this and not only survived but built civilizations. The human body is incredibly adaptable when it's getting the nutrients it needs. Let's talk numbers, because understanding how much to stockpile is crucial. A single person needs roughly 2,000 calories per day to maintain body weight and function. Using our 5 foods, you might eat 3 cups of cooked rice for about 600 calories, 2 cups of cooked beans for another 450 calories, supplemented with powdered milk for 300 calories, honey for another 200, and salt as needed. That's around 1,550 calories right there, and you can adjust portions up to meet your needs. For a year's supply for one person, you're looking at approximately 300 to 400 pounds of rice, 100 to 200 pounds of dried beans, 20 to 40 pounds of powdered milk, 20 to 30 pounds of honey, and 10 pounds of iodized salt. That might sound like a lot, but it fits in a closet. It costs a few $100s if you buy in bulk. And it provides complete peace of mind. Storage is the next critical consideration. All the shelf life in the world means nothing if you store these foods improperly. The enemies of food storage are oxygen, moisture, heat, light, and pests. For rice and beans, use food-grade buckets with gamma seal lids. Add oxygen absorbers before sealing. This creates an anaerobic environment where nothing can grow or spoil. Store these buckets in a cool, dark, dry location. A basement is ideal if it's not damp. A climate-controlled closet works too. Avoid garages and attics where temperature swings are extreme. Powdered milk should be kept in its original packaging if unopened, or transferred to airtight containers with oxygen absorbers if you're buying in bulk. Honey needs nothing special, just a sealed jar kept at room temperature away from direct sunlight. Salt should be kept dry. Use airtight containers to prevent it from absorbing moisture from the air, which can make it clump but doesn't harm its functionality. Rotation is something people often forget. Even though these foods last decades, it makes sense to use and replace them over time. This keeps you familiar with cooking them and ensures nothing ever reaches the end of its viable life. Make rice and beans part of your regular diet now. Use your stockpile and replace what you use. This way your emergency food is always fresh, and you're not trying to figure out how to cook beans for the first time when you're already stressed. What about vitamins and minerals beyond what these 5 foods provide? It's a fair question. Rice, beans, honey, powdered milk, and salt cover most of your bases, but not absolutely everything. Vitamin C is the main concern. None of these foods provide it in significant amounts, and while you can survive months without it before scurvy sets in, it's not ideal. The solution is simple: stockpile vitamin C tablets. They're cheap, shelf-stable for years, and fill the one nutritional gap in this system. A bottle of 500 vitamin C tablets costs about $10 and provides over a year's supply. Some survivalists also add a basic multivitamin to their stockpile as insurance. That's not a bad idea, but with the 5 core foods plus vitamin C, you're covering 99% of what your body needs. One of the most overlooked aspects of survival food planning is water. You can't cook rice or beans without it. You need water to reconstitute powdered milk. Hydration itself is even more critical than food. You can survive weeks without eating, but only days without drinking. So while you're stockpiling your 5 essential foods, make sure you have a water plan. Store at least 1 gallon per person per day. Have filtration and purification methods ready. Water is the foundation that makes your food stockpile usable. Let's address some common objections. Some people say this diet is too boring. Boredom is a luxury concern. In a real survival scenario, you'll be grateful to have reliable calories and nutrition. Taste fatigue is real, but it beats starvation or malnutrition. Others worry about allergies or dietary restrictions. If you're lactose intolerant, skip the powdered milk and increase your bean intake. Add canned fish if you can tolerate it for omega-3s and vitamin D. If you have a legume allergy, substitute additional protein sources. The principle remains the same. Focus on shelf-stable, nutritionally dense, affordable staples. Some critics point out that this approach lacks fresh vegetables and fruits. That's absolutely true. Fresh produce is wonderful, and if you have the ability to garden or forage, you should absolutely supplement this core diet with whatever fresh food you can obtain. But fresh food doesn't store. That's the whole point. We're talking about what to stockpile for emergencies when fresh food isn't available. In a short-term disaster, you might have some fresh items. In a long-term collapse scenario, you won't. These 5 foods are your nutritional insurance policy. The psychological aspect of food in survival situations can't be ignored. Food is comfort, it's routine. It's a morale booster when everything else is falling apart. Knowing you have a year's worth of food stored brings a level of calm that's hard to overstate. When everyone else is panicking about empty grocery store shelves, you're secure. That mental peace is worth far more than the monetary investment. Think about historical precedents. Armies have marched on rations far simpler than rice, beans, honey, milk, and salt. Sailors crossed oceans eating hardtack and dried peas. Pioneers crossed continents with basic staples. Ancient civilizations rose and fell on grain and legume-based diets. The human body is designed to thrive on simplicity when that simplicity includes the right nutritional building blocks. Modern society has convinced us we need infinite variety and constant novelty, but that's not biology talking, that's marketing. Let's run through a practical scenario. Imagine a major disaster has struck, the power grid is down, supply chains have collapsed, grocery stores were emptied in 48 hours. Your neighbors are hungry and desperate. But you, because you listened to this video and took action, have hundreds of pounds of rice, beans, honey, powdered milk, and salt stored safely. You have a simple camping stove or rocket stove to cook with. You have stored water or a method to purify it. Every day you can prepare nutritious meals. Your energy levels stay stable. You're not suffering from protein deficiency or vitamin shortages. You can think clearly and make good decisions because your brain is properly fueled. Your immune system functions because you're getting complete nutrition. You have the physical strength to handle whatever challenges arise because your muscles have the protein they need. This isn't a fantasy. This is the practical outcome of smart preparation. The cost-effectiveness of this approach deserves emphasis. 50 pounds of rice costs about $15 to $30 depending on quality and where you buy it. 25 pounds of dried beans runs $10 to $20. A gallon of raw honey is around $40 to $60. A large box of powdered milk is $15 to $30. Salt is almost free, just a few dollars for many pounds. For less than $200, you can stockpile several months' worth of complete nutrition for one person. Compare that to the thousands of dollars people spend on fancy freeze-dried kits or the hundreds they waste on random canned goods that don't form a complete nutritional profile. Buying in bulk saves money, but it requires planning. Find a local restaurant, supply store, or bulk food outlet. Check online retailers for deals on large quantities. Split orders with friends or family to get bulk pricing. Watch for sales and stock up then. Rice and beans go on sale regularly. There's no need to buy everything at once. Build your stockpile gradually over months. Start with a 2-week supply, then a month, then 3 months, then 6, then a year. Each step increases your resilience. Don't forget about cooking equipment. You need a way to boil water and cook food without electricity or gas from the grid. A simple camping stove with fuel canisters works. A rocket stove that burns twigs and wood is even better for long-term scenarios. Cast iron pots are durable and don't require special care. Learn to cook over an open fire if necessary. Practice these skills now, not when you're already in crisis mode. Make a weekend camping trip where you only eat rice, beans, and the other stockpile foods prepared with minimal equipment. You'll learn what works, what doesn't, and gain confidence. Food security is freedom. It's the freedom from depending on fragile systems that can break down. It's the freedom from panic when disasters strike. It's the freedom to help others because you've taken care of your own needs first. Every major survival expert, every preparedness professional, every person who's lived through real disasters will tell you the same thing. Food and water come first. Everything else is secondary. The 5 foods we've covered today aren't exciting. They're not exotic, they don't make for great social media posts, but they work. They've worked for thousands of years and they'll keep working no matter what the future holds. Rice, beans, honey, powdered milk, and salt. 5 simple foods that together create a complete survival nutrition system. Everything else is negotiable. These 5 are essential. Stock them now while they're available and affordable. Store them properly. Learn to prepare them. And sleep soundly knowing that no matter what happens, you and your family will have the fuel your bodies need to survive and thrive. If you found this information valuable, subscribe right now and share this video with someone you care about. Preparation isn't paranoia, it's responsibility. Take action today. Your preparation journey doesn't end with just buying food and storing it away. There's a larger mindset shift that happens when you take this step seriously. You're no longer passively hoping everything stays fine. You're actively taking control of your family's well-being. That shift in perspective changes everything about how you approach life. Uncertainty becomes manageable because you've addressed the most fundamental need. Your stress levels drop because you've eliminated one major category of worry. That mental clarity alone is worth the effort and investment. Think about what happens in the days after a major disaster. The initial shock wears off and people start thinking clearly. That's when they realize grocery stores are closed or stripped bare. That's when they understand supply trucks aren't coming tomorrow. That's when the reality of the situation hits hard, but you won't experience that panic. You'll be the calm person in the neighborhood. You'll be the one with answers. You'll be the one who can help a neighbor in need without compromising your family's security. That position of strength and stability is incredibly powerful. Let's talk about expanding beyond just the 5 core foods once you have them secured. These 5 create your nutritional foundation, but there's room to add complementary items that enhance your diet without compromising shelf stability or storage space. Canned fish like salmon, sardines, and tuna add omega-3 fatty acids and additional vitamin D that aren't present in your core 5. A single can of sardines lasts decades and provides serious nutritional density. Canned vegetables add fiber and micronutrients. While fresh is always better, canned vegetables maintain most of their nutritional value through the preservation process. Peanut butter, if stored properly, lasts years and adds healthy fats and additional protein. Cooking oil extends your food preparation options and adds caloric density to meals. None of these additions change your core strategy, but they add variety and fill small nutritional gaps. Spices deserve special mention. Salt covers the basic seasoning need, but imagine eating plain rice and beans every day without any flavor variation. A small collection of shelf-stable spices costs almost nothing. Black pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, cumin, and chili powder transform the same basic ingredients into different tasting meals. Spices last years when stored in airtight containers away from heat and light. For the cost of a single fancy coffee drink, you can add months of flavor variety to your entire year's worth of food. That's an investment in morale that absolutely matters during difficult times. Consider also the social and community aspects of food security. In a true long-term crisis, cooperation beats isolation. Knowing you have secure food allows you to be generous. You can share meals with neighbors and build stronger community bonds. You can trade surplus for other supplies you might need. Communities that eat together survive better than isolated individuals. Your food stockpile becomes a tool for building resilience at a larger scale than just your household. Teaching your children about this system is crucial. They need to understand why you're doing this. They need to see that preparation isn't about fear but about responsibility. Have them help with organizing and rotating supplies. Cook meals together using stockpiled ingredients. Let them experience that these foods are not just emergency rations but actual meals they can enjoy. This builds their confidence and self-sufficiency. If something happens to you, they'll know how to feed themselves and others. That's generational wisdom you're passing forward. The mental health benefits of food security extend further than most people realize. Anxiety disorders often stem from a sense of powerlessness. Knowing you've prepared for catastrophic scenarios reduces that sense of helplessness. You've taken concrete action. You've made decisions. You've executed a plan. That agency itself is therapeutic. Studies on people who have survived disasters show that those who prepared beforehand recover psychologically faster than those who didn't. Preparation is mental health care. Don't underestimate the value of documentation either. Write down exactly what you've stored. Create an inventory with quantities, purchase dates, and expected shelf life. Store this information in multiple places, including digitally in cloud storage if you have it. Include detailed cooking instructions for each food. In a crisis situation where you're stressed or injured, clear written instructions become invaluable. Teach family members where this documentation is stored and how to use it. Consider also the skills that complement food storage. Learning to bake bread using powdered milk and stored flour becomes valuable. Understanding how to cook beans from dry using minimal water conservation techniques matters in a drought scenario. Being able to create complete meals from basic ingredients builds confidence and competence. These aren't emergency skills. They're life skills that make you more self-sufficient even in normal times. Your water storage and purification systems deserve equal attention to your food storage. Rice needs water to cook. Beans need water to soak and cook. Your family needs water for drinking and hygiene. A good rule is 1 gallon per person per day for at least 2 weeks, but more is better. Store bottled water in a cool, dark location. Also have a water filter system, whether that's a pump filter, gravity filter, or boiling capability. Water is truly your #1 priority before food. As you build your stockpile, keep it organized and accessible. You don't want to have to move your entire supply just to grab something. Use clear storage containers when possible so you can see what you have. Label everything clearly with contents and dates. Store heavier items on lower shelves. Organize by category so you can quickly find what you need. This organization also makes rotation easier. Older items should be used first, with newer purchases behind them. The psychological comfort of abundance is real. Even if you never face a disaster that requires your stockpile, the knowledge that it's there provides ongoing peace of mind. You sleep better knowing your family's basic needs are covered. You handle normal life stressors better because one major source of anxiety has been eliminated. That's not paranoia or unhealthy preoccupation. That's rational risk management that benefits your mental health. Network with others who are taking this seriously too. Share knowledge, bulk buying opportunities, and storage solutions. Having friends who understand preparedness means you can discuss ideas without judgment. You can learn from their experiences and mistakes. You can combine your resources for better bulk pricing. Community is one of the most underrated elements of preparedness. You're not meant to prepare in isolation. Finally, remember that this is just the beginning. Food and water security is the foundation. From there, you can build outward into other preparedness categories like medical supplies, important documents, alternate power sources, and communication methods. But this foundation matters most because nothing else matters if you're hungry. You've addressed the most critical need. That's something to be genuinely proud of. You're taking responsibility for your family's well-being in a way most people never do. That matters more than you might realize. Subscribe now and start building your security today.